AliExpress's 2025 anniversary sale is here. That's right, the first full-scale sale of the year. That can only mean one thing. I have a list of 10 watches that I think you'll absolutely love at incredible prices. And this time I have a range of a couple of £100 all the way down to £20. They're all linked below in the description, and if you want some off-the-cuff picks, I have 3 honourable mentions that you need to stick around to the end of the video to see. There's something in here for everyone. My name is Jason, I'm your watch guy today. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with one of the absolute classic brands of the market. SteelDive at one point were one of the most popular brands on the AliExpress market, and it was because of releases like this one. This is their homage to the Rolex Explorer 2, but with some incredible dial colours. This is packed with the NH34 movement, obviously making it much more affordable, but with the sale price of as little as $95. This one is insane. It's packed with sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, and the quality of these pieces, in my experience, is much better than this price will suggest. I'd love to know in the comments below which one of these colours you would pick up for yourself. For me, it would definitely be that yellow. On a bracelet, this would cost you $105. On a rubber band, $95. Either way, absolute steal. Personally, I'd be picking up the bracelet. This watch has been haunting my Instagram feed for a few months now, but obviously the sale period is the perfect time to consider that purchase. I'm obviously talking about Suggess's homage to the Black Bay Chronograph, but they've definitely added their own little spin on this one. The 1907 mechanical wind movement in this piece allows for a power reserve complication down in the lower quarter. They've also incorporated those brighter colours that Tudor released recently and were incredibly popular. It's packed with a dome sapphire crystal, the usual Sugess build and finish quality, which definitely makes this $245 price tag much more reasonable in my mind. And they haven't even stopped at the brighter Tudor colour options. They've added their own with a lime green variant. You all know by now that there are 2 things in watches that I love. It's a splash of colour and a chronograph, and this one has both. Let me know in the comments what you think of that added complication now. Pagani Design's homage to my grail piece, the Speedmaster, is probably one of their most popular lines to date. They have updated that in recent times though with the first Omega in Space variant. This dark blue tone to the dial, those pointed hands and that aged aesthetic are definitely the selling points to this one. And they certainly push through a more vintage aesthetic. It is running the VK64 movement, which does mean that it has a date complication between the 4 and 5 o'clock points. The aged effects to the handset and the hour marking loom on this piece definitely add to it, and it makes it completely different to the previous PD1701 that we know and have probably in the past owned. What I love about these watches is that they are cheap enough to consider having multiple in your collection, and this one comes in at $75 in the sale. And another thing to consider is that they have such a line of these now that if this one isn't to your taste, there is definitely another in that lineup that you will probably love, so click that link and check them out. This is definitely one of the highlights to my list this year, and I say that pretty much every time that I mention a San Martin in these, and that's because they're always insanely packed for the price. On the basis, this is a Pelagos homage with a GMT complication, and it is powered by the NH34 movement, but they have gone pretty deep with this one. That casing is fully titanium. It has a brilliant 300 meters of water resistance and a fully loomed bezel as well as the hour markings and handset. This bezel is a 24-click bi-directional bezel option, and it just shows that they've put the entire specifications that you would enjoy in this piece into it. With this specification and functionality as well as the San Martin quality, it's insane to me that this one comes in at $245. Now that isn't as cheap as a lot of models on this list, but when we look in terms of value for your money, this one is definitely up there. Aside from the obvious specifications and the beautiful looks in either variant, San Martin always pack in that almost entry-level Swiss finishing and quality to their pieces, and that's what I absolutely love about them, especially considering they're also so cheap. I don't know if there's anything on the watch market today that you can get for $45 that is as good as this piece. But you also definitely need to stick around because this isn't even the cheapest on the list. I've mentioned this AddiesDive watch plenty since they have released it. The AD2066 is an absolute beauty. And I personally think it could be one of the best budget watches available right now. From the dial to the case to the specifications, this one has no right to be as good as it is for $45. It's running the VH31 movement, which allows for that much more aesthetically pleasing sweep to the second hand, even though this is a quartz movement, with the 36mm diameter giving off that much more elegant type of aesthetic on wrist. This one is definitely straight up my street. The updated dial is certainly the selling point here, and with those really elegant looking tones to the color options, I think this is a winner for a lot of us. It's an absolute travesty that I haven't reviewed one of these yet, and I think this sale is the perfect period for me to fix that. When Seestern came about, I knew that they were going to be incredibly popular for the next few years, but their most recent release is definitely my favourite of the lot. This is a homage to the Grand Seiko GMT diver. Keeping with the budget pricing, this one is running an NH34 movement, still fully automatic with all the bells and whistles that you could want, whilst being resilient and reliable in everyday use. I love the mother of pearl variants to these pieces. It just pushes that level of luxury for me, and it certainly doesn't add up to that $225 price tag. Seestern definitely offer that higher quality that we expect on the higher end of the AliExpress market. Again, as I've mentioned, that entry-level Swiss type of finishing and quality. And in my experience, the specifications are not the only things to write home about with these watches, but let me tell you about them. It packs a sapphire crystal, a sapphire bezel insert, which is also fully loomed to match in with the handset and the dial. All of that while looking absolutely beautiful. I love these pieces, and the sale price just makes that little bit better. This is the cheapest watch on today's list, coming in at $27. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't pack in some pretty surprising elements. The North Edge Evoque 2 is a solar powered watch. That's right, you heard me right, $27 will still get you a solar powered movement. Insanely cheap, but still a brilliant caliber to have on your wrist. Now this is definitely larger than my average review piece. It is 46mm in diameter, but you are always telling me I should start considering the bigger watches for you guys. The bright orange tones and the military aesthetic to the piece are definitely the prevalent selling points for it. If you're looking for a cheap knockabout beta watch, this one is better than most. I can't think of anything that's any more suitable. It also doesn't hurt that it comes accompanied by a very bright orange band to accent those orange tones in the watch. You know I love those colours, this one has it. I've seen a lot of chatter around the WatchDives brand over the last year, and I can see exactly why now. Their WD0005 has some absolute fantastic features to it, especially in that dial department. I love the textures throughout that dial, as well as the colours. It adds something that we rarely can't achieve at this type of price point very often. They're running the NH35 movement, which we all know and love. The 39mm diameter definitely brings us into that very comfortable sizing profile that I really enjoy, and I think would work for a lot of you too. The domed sapphire crystal definitely works for this aesthetic brilliantly. From what I've seen in reviews, the level of finishing is much better than you can probably expect at this price point. And with these brilliant dials and colours, it's so impressive that they're offering this at $145. Definitely want to have a look at if you enjoy dials that look completely different to anything else and you want a bit of quality to your watch also. If you want an absolute bargain, and let's be honest, we all do, this is the one for you. I actually reviewed Phorcydes way back when I started this channel, and they were selling these pieces for a massive amount more. I don't know if this is to sell off discontinued stock or why they've offered them so cheap, but that doesn't really matter to us. We're here for the bargain. They're available for $100, and for this type of specification, I don't think you can find anything better right now. The sandwich dial gives a nuclear level of lume to the watches. They're available in a white or a black dial, but you also get to choose which color lume you want, blue or green. This watch is a fantastic twist between a Captain Willard casing and those Panerai submersible dial options. It's such a cool mashup, and that's exactly what I said when I reviewed one. They're using the NH35 movement, a sapphire crystal, and this comes in with a whopping 500 meters of water resistance. This is definitely the dive watch bargain of this sale. Make sure you get hold of one before they're all gone. Cronos are back with a stunning homage to the BB39, and I'm falling for that white dial variant pretty hard. I do enjoy a smaller diameter casing, but with those tool aesthetics, it's just a winner for me. Cronos offer a finishing and quality level very close to what St. Martin do, and that means this could be a pretty stunning deal at $150. And for that, you're not just getting a brilliant level of finish. The aesthetic to the piece is also obviously beautiful. It's a sapphire crystal. The level of lume in these pieces is almost nuclear. As well as that, you get a brilliant choice between that riveted bracelet or a 5-piece link. Personally, for me, with the monotone black and white dial and that Jubilee-like bracelet, I think that one is the absolute winner of the bunch. The sapphire crystal and 200 meters of water resistance definitely make these specifications very respectable. And genuinely, for a watch that looks the part but is very survivable in day-to-day life, I think this one is the one. Now for a few honourable mentions. When I do these lists, there's sometimes watches I really want to mention, but they just don't fit in, and that is exactly what these three were. First of all, this Sugess Bronze Pilot Tourbillon piece is insane. From what I've seen from other reviewers that own them, their tourbillon pieces definitely hold up. Now obviously it looks amazing, but also with that tourbillon complication, this is another level. It comes in at $615, which is obviously expensive, but for what you're getting, it's an insane price. I've mentioned the PD1701 before in this list, but they've also just released it in a two-tone white dial variant that I think is beautiful, and I actually have one in for a review later on this week. Make sure you come back for that one. In this sale, it comes in at $70. Finally, an absolute classic of the market, the St. Martin Submariner homage. With the Starbucks variant color options, I think this is my pick of the bunch. They're offering this in the sale at $125, and I think that's an absolute bargain. Thanks for watching today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed my selection. If there's anything that I've missed off or anything that you're watching, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys are buying this week. With that said, all of my links are listed below. If you're interested in any of these or anything on AliExpress for this period, make sure you click one of those and navigate from there. Get yourself the best deal you possibly can. Thanks for watching today. Remember to subscribe for more watch content and reviews later on in the week, and I will see you in the next one.